Yankees fans,
And the crowd was getting all over Chamberlain, raining boos down upon the youngster. And the Boo Birds are out.
Gonna miss. Second straight time Frommer has struck out Gallo. And some boos here from the Yankee Stadium crowd.
Judge is hearing boos. Well, of course he should be hearing them. He hasn't homered in over a week.
And how about this crowd? That's a little harsh, booing him with the 5 strikeouts in a game in which the Yankees are leading 9-4.
are hard to please. This is a group that demands excellence, and they'll let you know if what you're bringing doesn't meet their standards. So how does a replacement level second baseman with a 665 OPS endear himself to this fan base? Simply put, he was a vibes guy. Rougned Odor's career is one of the greatest social experiments ever conducted. He famously hit 30 homers in 2017 while being below replacement level because he literally couldn't do anything else. But today, we're not here to talk Rougned Odor the player. We're here to talk Rougned Odor the person. He is a firecracker. Most of you watching this video know him for landing the cleanest hit ever on a baseball field without the use of a bat. He's the type of guy you'd go to for a confidence boost, and so in 2021, Yankees pitchers used his aura as a power-up. Let's say you're Aroldis Chapman struggling to secure the last out against the New England Blue Jays. Rougned Odor comes in, reminds you that you can throw 100+ miles per hour, and bam, game over. Or you're Justin Wilson pitching in a 1-run game. You just walk the catcher and let his pinch runner advance because you absolutely spiked a ball in the dirt. The nerves are starting to creep in. But no worries, here comes your pal Roogie. He knows you're the best. You're the guy for this. You've always been. You're 2021 Justin Wilson. Next 3 pitches, dart, and respectfully, sit down, be humble. Or you're Asher Wojciechowski. Yeah, sure, he existed. You're feeling kinda down on yourself after giving up an RBI double to Bryce Harper and walking Andrew McCutchen. So your personal hype man comes in, reads you your high school scouting report. You remember who you are, Asher Wojak, ready for business. Sit down, Didi, you're done. Put some batting gloves on. You were always a shitty infielder. Get a haircut, you hippie. And Gene, you're cool, but make your way back to the dugout. Infielders joining mound visits isn't that unique, but typically they save their visits for big situations. I'm saying when the manager or pitching coach is involved, not when the catcher is coming to discuss sequencing or going over signs. But Odor insisted upon sitting in on every single mound visit, even initiating his own at times. His energy fueled a pitching staff that outperformed its expected stats and repeatedly came through in the clutch. Even though he was so-so as a player, Rougned Odor the hype man was an integral part of the Yankees making the playoffs that year. So what makes vibes guys difference makers? The truth is, the MLB season is long. If you are a starting position player, you're basically grinding it out every day from March until September or October if your team makes the postseason. Plus, in baseball, there is a ton of downtime during games. That's just a fact. You need that teammate who keeps you loose and entertained. Look, sometimes it's hard to stay focused when it's August and you're playing the Pittsburgh Pirates on a Thursday afternoon. Everyone from all-stars to solid role players needs someone to provide some levity to keep you on your toes and your head in the game. Even if they don't provide much on the field, their presence is invaluable, and their existence dates all the way back to pre-World War I. But first, let's open the slab pack on Arena Club. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no. Mom, this is not a drill. Dylan Cruz, yes, the guy who I keep telling you about, 2024 Bowman Chrome Prospect autograph card. Oh my god, who else do I tell? I've missed that feeling so much. There's just something about the thrill of opening a new pack and seeing what is in store for you. Thanks to Arena Club and their slab packs, that feeling is at the tip of my fingers. And because of how much we've progressed as a society, they will instantly grade your cards upon opening, and make you an offer based on the card's current market value. The days of waiting and guessing how much your card is worth, yeah, those are out the window. Welcome to the future. Plus, you're given the option for Arena Club to hold onto your card securely in their vault, and at the click of a button, Arena Club will send your cards to you. It is that easy. Whether you are an experienced collector who can perfectly recite their PSA grades, or you're just starting out, Arena Club is the place to be. No matter what sport you follow, or even if sports cards aren't your cup of tea. Shout out to my Pokemon fans out there. Plus, with their showrooms, there is a wide community of collectors who you can both share your collections and trade with. You can even find me there. Heck, offer me a trade, maybe I'll accept. And while you're there, enter in URL arenaclub.com/NMF and use code NMF at checkout to get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. I hope to see you there. Now, let's talk about the 1911 Giants. The 1911 Giants were a good team stuck in a three-way dog pile for the NL pennant. That's when in July, while in St. Louis, Giants manager John McGraw was approached by Charlie Faust, a field farmer raised by European immigrants from Marion, Kansas. Faust told McGraw that a fortune teller at a county fair said that he was destined to pitch the Giants to a World Series title, in addition to meeting an heiress named Lulu and producing a, and I quote, long line of baseball prodigies. The superstitious McGraw, entertaining the idea at first, gave the 30-year-old Faust a tryout. Within a matter of seconds, it was apparent that he was not a capable major leaguer. In fact, Faust probably had not been on a diamond in years. However, McGraw let him continue the tryout. Soon enough, the Giants players caught on to this woefully inept man, who probably would have been labeled on the autism spectrum today, make a fool of himself while actually believing he had a shot to make the team. The Giants players got such a kick out of seeing this that John McGraw let Faust sit on the bench during the Cardinals series, in which his team won 3 out of 4 games. Faust, still firmly believing he was going to see Major League action, kept asking McGraw for a contract, even ambushing him at the St. Louis Union Station while they were on their way to Pittsburgh. McGraw, trying to get this man off his back, told Charlie that he left the contract at the hotel and asked him to go back and fetch it, which he did. This gave McGraw an opportunity to hop on the train and leave Faust in St. Louis without incident. The Giants finished the road trip, dropping 4 of their next 6 games. The team was shocked when they arrived back to Polo Grounds and saw Faust standing there waiting for them. Somehow, the man who presumably never stepped foot outside of Kansas before this misadventure was able to make his way from St. Louis to New York via train. McGraw finally relented and let Faust hang around the team on a more permanent basis. The Giants proceeded to go 40-14 during the rest of the season. That is about a 114-win pace over 154 games over the course of 2.5 months. The players considered him to be a good luck charm, and his antics brought levity to the Giants clubhouse. Now, the levity in question stemmed from these players essentially bullying the poor guy. But John McGraw did let Charlie, now dubbed Victory Faust, warm up in the bullpen during games, even though he had no intention of letting him come into one. That is, until the Giants clinched the pennant. As an extension of gratitude, McGraw let Faust come into pitch against the Braves on October 7th. Mercifully, the opposition went easy on him, and Faust was able to complete an inning. He even got another chance to pitch a few days later. The Giants won the NL pennant by a comfortable 7.5 games, but they had to face the Philadelphia Athletics, who had a good luck charm of their own. Bat Boy Louis Van Zelst, a teenager with a hunchback, which Athletics players would rub for good luck. His vibes power level would prove to be stronger as the Athletics took down the Giants in 6 games. Even though this story is pretty disturbing to hear about nowadays, Faust was the first example of a guy who was rostered on a team not necessarily for his on-field talents, but for the vibes he brought off the field. Fortunately, as time went on, we as a society have become more sympathetic to individuals who are off the beaten path. I mean, YouTube exists. And it reflected in baseball, as Vibes guys went from being the butt of the joke to being in on the joke. Take Moe Drabowsky for example. Now, just like Charlie Faust, Moe was raised on a farm by European immigrants. Unlike Charlie Faust, Moe could actually pitch. However, he isn't really remembered for what he did on a major league mound, but for pulling some of the most legendary pranks in MLB history off the field. One of his most notorious pranks even helped his team win a series when in May of 1966, during an Orioles game against his former team, Moe called the Athletics bullpen, pretended to be their manager, and started ordering for relievers to begin warming up, then to sit down several times over before the ruse was finally up. This prank got in the heads of some Athletics players, and a few of them blamed the paranoia caused by the scheme for dropping 2 out of 3 games that series. The Orioles, who had finished 3rd in the AL the previous season, placed 1st in the American League, and unlike the 1911 Giants, were able to finish the job.
Is there. He takes it, and the Orioles are the new world champions.
Moe became so confident in his ability that he actually performed the hot foot prank, one where the perpetrator slips a match into the victim's shoe and lights it on fire, on MLB Commissioner Bowie Kuhn during the 1970 World Series. That's like if Blake Trinan lit Rob Manfred's shoes on fire during the 2024 World Series. Moe truly did not give a single fuck, and teammates loved him for it. Sometimes vibes guys become so powerful that they wind up gaining more notoriety from their aura than their actual baseball career. Take our next guy for example. You might have heard of him. He is Mr. Baseball after all. So how does a full-time backup catcher with a career 63 OPS plus earn that distinction? Well, let me explain. Bob Uecker was a comedian who just happened to be a decent catcher. I'm not kidding, he might be one of the funniest and most clever guys on the planet.
Obviously, it's a locker room celebration.
No, this is actually a picture of me getting ready for a game.
There's a statue of me outside the St. Louis ballpark. It's a little screwed up. They have me like batting left-handed, but I was a right-handed batter. But you know, like the uniform and everything else is the same. And she's right on the bottom, the guy's name, big letters. Some guy named Stan the Man. I guess he made it.
And now the funniest joke I ever heard. These 2 ball players went duck hunting. They were out in the marshes for over an hour. They didn't get anything, didn't shoot anything. Finally, one says to the other, I wonder why we haven't got any ducks. The other one says, maybe we're not throwing the dog up high enough.
If you can knock a guy like Norm Macdonald off his feet, then you deserve to be in that conversation.
Did Creedence Clearwater Revival? Yeah. He goes, yeah, he did all that.
Even though he showed some promise in the minors, by 1964, it was clear that he wasn't major league material after he was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals. So how come Tim McCarver, the man who Uecker was an understudy to, claimed that the Cardinals do not win the 1964 World Series without him? It's because he was hilarious.
Thought that if I would do a favor for them, that it would really help the Cardinals, the city, the organization. And they wanted to inject me with hepatitis.
Anyone who's worked a kitchen job can relate to this. You ever had that one coworker who had the power to make a 9-hour shift feel like 3 just by cracking jokes the entire time? That's basically what Uecker was to the Cardinals that season. His humor kept the team loose even when they were facing a 6.5 game deficit against the Phillies, a team notably devoid of humor and whimsy, going into the final 2 weeks of the season. Uecker maintained his sense of humor through the World Series against a Yankees team that had won it all in 2 of the previous 3 seasons, and 4 of the last 10. But their one deficiency is that they severely lacked the power of vibes. Before Game 2 in St. Louis, Uecker found an abandoned tuba left from the pregame ceremonies and decided it would be a hell of an instrument to shag balls with. The Cardinals, with the power of Uecker's humor and Bob Gibson's 3 complete games, took down the Yankees in 7. Uecker would parlay his 99th percentile wit into one of the most formidable broadcasting careers in sports, but his 1964 season solidified the power of vibes guys, and his presence would be felt both on and off the field for generations. One of his contemporaries was Jay Johnstone. Johnstone proved to be an all-time comedic talent even in his youth when he committed to play for 9 different universities out of high school, an unofficial record and a legendary troll job. The California Angels, a team rich in comedy, noticed Johnstone's hijinks and inked him to a contract. There he learned from the best in Bo Belinsky, Dean Chance, and good old Jimmy Pearsall, who he was roommates with. Johnstone earned the nickname the Moon Man while in southeastern Los Angeles. And while there is some debate on how he received the nickname, there is no denying that it's up there with Grandson of the Wind and the freshest man on earth for best MLB nicknames of all time. Despite being not good for the White Sox the year prior, Johnstone got himself a contract with the 1973 Oakland Athletics, where he continued to hone his craft among the Mustache Gang. Unfortunately, the Athletics, being truly overstocked with both outfielders and colorful personalities, had to trade Johnstone to the Cardinals after winning the World Series that year. After getting dropped by them during the spring, Johnstone joined the Phillies, where he both refined his abilities as a player and a vibes guy. The Phillies, who learned a lot since 1964 about letting vibes guys flourish, served as a perfect environment for Johnstone to truly thrive. Just like Drabowsky, his claim to fame was through doing impersonations. But he took his game to a whole new level when he imitated old school baseball managers by stuffing his uniform with laundry and walking around with that famous manager waddle, a proto-Nicky Cass, if you will.
When you're gonna go punch somebody, right, you're not just gonna do this, are you? You're gonna get something behind it. You're gonna come here, get the hips involved. So let me ask you, why when you got the bat in your hands, you're just doing this? Get the hips involved. Boom! Explode right to the ball. Boom!
His pregame routines are stuff of legend. He too set off firecrackers in the locker room, most famously doing it during a postgame interview with his teammate, Dick Allen. Watch my Dick Allen video. But it was in 1981 when Johnstone reached Hall of Fame level vibes. For those who aren't aware, 1981 was a strike year, as the still relatively new MLBPA was trying to prove their might against owners who couldn't give even a decimal of their generational wealth to fairly compensate free agents. Players as a whole were unhappy, and glass-half-full guys like Johnstone were a hot commodity. He joined the Dodgers, and his performance went into the stratosphere. And I'm not talking his on-field performance.
Playing second base, one of my favorite base stealers, Davy Lopes, little short guy with a mustache. Batting third, playing left field, Dr. Skull, man of my heart, gives me heartburn when he don't hit, keeps those pizzas coming, Dusty Baker. Hitting fourth, Mr. All-America, my favorite person, the boy next door, the girl you want your daughter to marry. What's his name? Garvey, Steve Garvey. Hitting fifth, that little short penguin, the guy that runs with the funny run, Ron Say. Batting eighth, the boy with the cutest nose. A man after my own heart. His name ends in a vowel like mine. You know, the one with the crooked nose, Mike Scioscia. And batting ninth, the guy that we tried to get a Pillsbury Doughboy commercial for, but he couldn't laugh in English, Fernando Valenzuela, our man. And there, of course, managed by myself, Tom Lasorda.
Johnstone's carefree attitude, one he spent years nurturing and refining, helped lead the Dodgers to the World Series that year. And unlike Bob Uecker in 1964,
hepatitis
even contributed a little bit on the field too.
Two pitch to Johnstone. Hit high in the air to right center field. Bobby Brown looking up. Johnstone put it out.
Johnstone eventually joined the Cubs, where vibes go to flourish.
Nothing manages better. Are you sure?
And just like Uecker, parlayed his elite vibes into a nice broadcasting career. Over the coming years, baseball would see an explosion of vibes guys. From Jose Lima, who flipped the notion that pitchers had to be stoic on their start days on its head by turning the clubhouse into his own personal concert and dance hall whenever his turn in the rotation came up. Or the cowboy Kevin Millar, master of pranks Ryan Dempster, cocaine incarnate Nick Swisher, or the OG banana enjoyer Munenori Kawasaki.
Monkey never crap.
But what if I told you there was a team that won it all solely on vibes? I'm of course talking about the 2021 Atlanta Braves. The Braves of the, let's call it the Acuna, Albies, Swanson, sure, Freeman, Fried core, were a dangerous, if somewhat underachieving team going into 2021. Coming off a brutal NLCS defeat against the Dodgers the year prior, they had nothing but high expectations coming into the season. They needed a difference maker, and so they went out and got one.
staring at the snows that I burned through. Spitting influential, I guard for my cuts like Ginsu. Rolling in the deep like a Dale do, I'ma slide back, intact with the Mac, and I'm lost with the strap. Click, clack, go boom, boom. Mind bottle like monsoons. For everything that I've been through, can you feel me? It's the life that I'm living that got me messed up. Crazy life I was living, reckless. Scratch that off of the checklist. Feeling I'm supposed to invest in. Part of me learned a lesson where reality started to settle in. In relations, I'm not stationed.
Okay, so you may be wondering who this guy with the swords is. That is Guillermo Heredia. Because what's better than one Vibes guy, you may ask? Well, of course, it's two Vibes guys. Just like Johnstone, you couldn't really use Not a Humble outside of a platoon. But just like Johnstone, he made up for his lack of performance by excelling in bringing the ruckus. The idea for the swords came from an Instagram account that Heredia followed, and because he, just like me for real, thought they looked cool and wanted to incorporate them into his aesthetic. It was actually Braves clubhouse manager Calvin Manazian that bought the swords that Heredia would become famous for. Why the color pink? Well, that's just one of those mysteries that only the baseball gods can answer to. However, the Vibes proved not to be strong enough in order to withhold the lack of on-field production. This coalesced on July 10th, when the good times seemed to be gone.
He jumps on the first pitch, drives that toward
outfielder Marcell Ozuna has been arrested on domestic violence charges. He's accused of hitting a woman with his cast and trying to strangle her at his home in Sandy Springs.
According today with baseball pulling this year's All-Star game out of Georgia in protest of the state's new restrictive voting.
Drives that toward Acuna, who leaps and
The Braves needed to bring in one more Vibes guy to potentially save their season. Someone who could create aura from ash, zeal from zilch, fervor from fog. They needed a Vibes guy to end all Vibes guys.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No.
Cleat has done that.
No. Base is empty in the bottom of the third inning.
0-1 and a fly ball to deep right center field. That's hit well. And it is 1-0 Braves. Jock Peterson.
Pitch. Swing, line drive, get down. Yeah, baby, Braves win. That took care of that.
Now Murphy wore the pearls tonight.
Uh-oh, Jock Peterson unloads. That one's going to go a long way. That one's out of here.
As if panda suits and pink swords didn't provide enough hero props, Jock Peterson introduced the late season edition of pearls. Yes, the fashion accessory you'd associate with socialites from New England was now being sported by Jock Peterson, and it sent shockwaves across Metro Atlanta. His reason for wearing them? He wanted to be a bad bitch. And who could blame him? Suddenly, you had every person in the Southeast, didn't matter how strong their masculinity was, sporting their own set of pearls. The Vibes triumvirate was complete, and even though Kung Fu Panda had long been off this roster, the Vibes he brought early in the season set off a chain reaction that led a team that lost its best player and were under 500 in July storm back and shock the entire baseball world. Since then, Vibes guys have been an integral part of our game. GMs and players acknowledge the value they bring in the clubhouse. Garrett Stubbs, owner of a career 69 OPS Plus, is able to keep a job as the Phillies' backup catcher because his vibes are, and I quote, immaculate. Jose Candelita Iglesias redefined the meaning of a Vibes guy for the Mets in 2024. Honestly, I didn't even scratch the surface in this video. So please, in the comments below, Let me know who I missed out on. Who is your favorite Vibes guy of all time? For me, I mean, come on, it's Guillermo Heredia. I seriously don't think the Braves win the World Series without him. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done either of those things. See you all next time. Bye. But did y'all really think I was going to let you go before shouting out my new level 2 ball wizards? Now, first order of business, this video itself was a Patreon suggestion. My friend Zach Gagnon went through the steps to become a level 3 ball god, and because of that, was able to suggest a video, thus what you saw before you. If you want to learn more about becoming a level 3 ball god, please visit patreon.com/nomorefielders. But I understand becoming a level 3 ball god is difficult. So, you could take the route of the following and become a level 2 ball wizard. We have Aaron82707, Austin Beaker, and Num.mp3. Everyone give a round of applause for those three, and all of my patrons, because without them, this wouldn't be possible.